I never knew hustlers confessed in stereo.
Like that and like this and like this and like that and like this and that. Oh man. Like that and like this and like that and it's like this and like that and like this and that. It's like this. So who gives up about those? Let's roll to the next episode. I'm telling you, you could do the whole song of this. Hold up. Hey, all you let me take of me, so take a stand. We'll be rocking till the wheels fall off. Hold up. Hey. Oh man. You're so cool. Anyway. Silence. MAGA Thatcher. I will not work on Maggie's farm no more. I've always been there. And the sign said the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement halls and whispered and echoed in the sound of silence. People still prophesy. It's a real thing. And people are going to see it. It's going to manifest. There's nothing stopping it. It's the nothing from Never-Ending Story, but it's not the nothing. It's the everything. It's the infinite. It's the infinite. It's vacuuming. Do you understand? There is a vacuum in space somewhere. There is a blood-brain barrier. That's all I can say about it. Anyway, so I had all these songs in my head. Shalom Bar Berit Nazaret. That is the House of Covenants. That is the spreader of seeds. Nazareth literally means to scatter. Nazara, so the testimony of scattering. Zara, Teth, a vortex. Because remember, sometimes the seed just blows away, or something else stops it. But then you can say also a ta and a heth. So you can cut it up even smaller, and it's the testimony of Zara, of scattering. And then you can even put the E in there and put A in, testimony of the ta, the mark, which is a border or signature. That's literally a seed. A seed is a ta. And then the heh is behold. So a testimony of scattering seed, and then a testimony of that ta, that seed, you behold it. It's faith. The whole Nazareth encompasses what Messiah did. He was destined to have that title and that name. Sometimes people aren't given a proper title, or they're given a temporary title. Like Jacob, that was a physical wrestling move. But once he wrestled with the angel, he figured out that the physical isn't anything. The physical isn't worth anything. All the wrestling, all the Jakob he had done up until then was worthless, absolutely worthless. When he wrestled with God's will through the angel, because God would annihilate you. So he sends a messenger with his will attached to it to size up your will physically. But it's like, all right, if your spiritual will is what, his spiritual will is what kept him there. That's why he's tested that way. It's a spiritual thing coming to him and wrestling with him to see how much Jakob's spirit will pull like a magnet the other spirit. And God's like, this guy wants me so bad, I can't depart from him. Let go of me. The sun's coming up. You can't see my face. And he's like, okay, since you're not going to let me go until I bless you, I'm going to bless you, but it's not going to feel like a blessing. And he literally cup checked him. And that's why Jacob was limping. It's not, he did not do anything to his thigh. If you research the real Hebrew, he literally cup checked him and put the offspring in it. I'm not even kidding. Jacob got cup checked so that Mary can have a virgin birth. Not kidding. And he was limping. Imagine if God's will just went snap. I mean, I've never, God's protected me to the point where somebody tried to cup check me once in my life, and it was so light that it didn't do anything, but it still felt like it felt, the feeling feels like you've been wronged. It's like, and so there was this very attractive girl who then walked up behind him and kicked him straight from behind. So her whole curve of her shin that curves into her foot, it cupped his and just, oh, I saw it. This is a really, really skinny dude. It's funny. He looked like a Nazi. Everybody said he looked like a Nazi. It was funny. But I can't say that about anybody for obvious reasons. Anyway. I'm feeling good today. You know why? Because I don't work on MAGA's farm. I don't work for MAGA Thatcher. Let's get into that. Oi! Get your filthy hands off my desert! What do you say? You ever heard that song? It was this... Like, nobody listens to... It's like everybody listens to Pink Floyd, and nobody listens to Pink Floyd. It's really frustrating. You know who it's most frustrating for? Roger Waters. He just plays... He's been playing the Wall album over and over for longer than I've been alive. Is there anybody out there? I'm going to do a whole stream on the Wall album. I don't know if anybody's going to listen. I don't care. I'm doing it for Roger Waters. I'm doing it for the truth. I'm doing this for the truth. What does he say? When it's just some guy, like, that's literally how the Afghanistan and Iraq invasions are. Some voices is like, hey, get your filthy hands off my desert. And you're like, what do you say? Before you can even realize the dude even said anything, the rocket comes. So go listen to that song. Get Your Filthy Hands Off My Desert by Pink Floyd. He says, Brezhnev took Afghanistan and Begin took Beirut. Galtieri took the Union Jack. Very interesting. And Maggie, over lunch one day, took a cruiser with all hands. Apparently to make him give it back. You got, dude, this guy, Brezhnev took Afghanistan. Watch the movie The Beast. It's got Stephen Baldwin in it. It's so hilarious. So hilarious. Stephen Baldwin is perfect in that movie. It's hilarious. He's not the main character. There's this other guy, I forgot his name. It's called The Beast, 1988 of all years, and it shows you the skull. The tank commander has the skull I'm talking about. He was traumatized by Nazis and when they were fighting the Russians, and that's his excuse for being an insane person. You gotta watch that movie. It shows you all the truth because it's the Russians. Oh, but then when America does it, New York Times and all these people tell them, yeah, they have weapons of mass destruction, and then afterwards it's like, oh, it was wrong, but we apologize to our viewers, convincing them to vote for something that murdered a million people. 1 million. Brezhnev took Afghanistan. Begin took Beirut. Galatians. Galtieri. That's the Gauls. There was literally a president or prime minister or something of France in around JFK's time, I think. His name was de Gaulle. His last name was de Gaulle. If you guys can look that up for yourself. So these people, I don't even know who they are, because their demons just go into other people when they pass away. So I don't care who Brezhnev, Begin, and Galtieri are, because Maggie is MAGA. I don't care what Margaret Thatcher did. The spirit of that is happening again with MAGA. Took a cruiser with all hands. That's MAGA. To make him give it back and make America great again. She was just a female Trump. So is that Le Pen lady? And that Le Pen lady and Hillary Clinton look pretty similar. Hillary Clinton manifested her most likely Bloody Mary Elizabethan lineage by her Kaiser lineage by quoting Kaiser, who is 666. He's a sixer. He said, "Vav vav vav 666, vidi vini vici. I came, I saw, I conquered. Shush, shush, shush. Shushan." That's sus. It's real sus. Sus also means swine. Sixers sacrifice swine to Zeus. To Shush. Shushan Edith. Susa and the Citadel. Do you understand? Brezhnev took Afghanistan. Begin took Beirut. Galtieri took the Union Jack. Yaktun, not Yakub. And Magog, MAGA, over lunch one day took a cruiser with all hands. That's a war. A certain type of war. Apparently to make him give it back. So, I'm going to eventually get to Maggie's farm, but I have some stuff in here because Roger Waters and the people he wrote these things with made a lot of references to Margaret Thatcher. Because apparently, I think it's Roger Waters or one of their fathers died in the war, and sons don't like it when governments make up fake wars and their fathers die for nothing. They write songs about it, and they don't shut up. That's just what happens when you do that. So, first, actually, before I lose the attention of certain types of people in the future when this video isn't live, let me actually show this story on Yahoo News. Remember, that's a blasphemous name, so I don't like pronouncing it right. But Yahoo might even be too close also. But just to show it here. Let me try to show it here. They call this guy Eliyahu Rips. Eliyahu was the young prophet at the end of Job. Waited for these three foolish people who couldn't answer Job to stop speaking. He was able to answer Job, and he was able to defend God more properly than Job. That's what evoked God in the first place, and he came out of the whirlwind and just confirmed what Eliyahu said. This man is a Kabbalistic fraud. He's a mathematician. Remember I told you, mat. That's the second death. He is a sorcerer of the second death. That's why he's in black. Kamai. The priest, the black-robed priests spoken about in Josiah's reign. So, the Chemarim. It's a Chemarim. Alchema. Chemarim. From black. From Egypt is what that means. Matmat. Mathematician who found codes in the Torah, allegedly, that seem to predict the future. What? That must be a synchronicity. Let's continue reading before we start saying foolish things that hairy animals with no human conscience would say. In 2003, he used a computer program to search the Torah for skip codes, he says. And they just so happen to confirm all the psyops. Isn't that cute? All the pharaonic psyops. Eliyahu Rips, who's died at the age of 75, was a brilliant mathematician, they say, who claimed to have found codes hidden in the Torah that predicted the future, most sensationally, the date of Saddam Hussein's first Scud missile attack on Israel in 1991. That's literally that song. Get your filthy hands off my desert. What'd he say? And then they divide the land. They divide the garments. When there's one, they're bound to divide it right in two. Silly monkeys give them thumbs. They make a blade. And when there's one, they're bound to divide it right in two. It gets so much more interesting on Maggie's farm. Rips, I don't even have to tell you his last name, come on. Rips startling analysis. He's a mathematician and his name is rest in peace. Oh, I'm getting excited. I almost let my 1/3 come out. That's my Hamite. I was about to call this guy a Southern brother, but he ain't, so I can't even say it. All right. His startling analysis, which seemed to tantamount to scientific proof of a miracle, this is so Kabbalistic, was published in 1994. Ooh, I was screaming by then. I was getting croup at that moment, I think. In statistical science, under the unassuming title Equidistant Letter Sequences in the Book of Genesis. These people are so cute. All right, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and like he tries to connect it with like a bunch of rabbis over the past 2,000 years or something. And remember, Rab, that is a Babylonian, the Rabsaris, the Rabshakeh, the Rabmeg. Just because Mary called Messiah Rabboni does not mean you're allowed to call him that. He corrected people many times. He probably just didn't feel like correcting her because she was a woman, and it's like, oh, you can call me that. I guess I don't know, but you're not supposed to. He's told them before not to call him that, even though he is that. You see what I mean? Like he encompasses all those generals. He's more powerful than the Rabsaris and the Rabmig and the Rabshakeh. After that, Drosnin became messianic. And in his 1997 book, The Bible Code, oh, he wrote a book, how cute, serialized extravagantly in the Daily Mail, claimed to found Torah predictions for the assassination of JFK. The moon landings and the death of Princess Diana. I read to you Edgar Allan Poe. They have dragged Diana from her carriage. These people obsess. Edgar Allan Poe wrote that the spirit of these people, so-called science, robs the poet of his Holy Spirit if he allows it. And they drag Diana from her carriage. This guy's just a Kabbalistic pharaoh. A pederast. A Pharisee is someone who cries out to pharaohs. Literally. Or they cry out like Pharaoh. Or they're Pharaoh crying out. I'm not even kidding. That's what it is in Hebrew. And their people weren't realizing that. It's a lot like today. Because I spoke to an IDF soldier today, last night. I told them what they're doing. I told them that the Amalek and Hittites. And I'm like, can't you see your government is not the same phenotype as you, and they're commanding you to exterminate people who have a way more similar phenotype to you than the people commanding you to slay them. And I said the AI is going to scan all those faces and then turn on you and me and any Semitic person, and it's going to be funded and enforced by China and the Belt and Road Initiative. And you're going to see for a very short time New Canaan arise. And their old world order, not the New World Order. The New World Order is Messiah. The New World Order will prevail. These people are actually the old world order. You're going to see New Canaan, the Belt and Road Initiative, the New Silk Road. Trump's going to pretend to be the new Cyrus. He's going to fool people, probably through Andrew Tate, that he's dual carnane. He's going to exalt himself above every so-called Elohim and object of worship till he set. The Horash are set. They become one, and he proclaims himself Osiris. Hosher. Do you understand? Who is this guy with his mathematicians? I have my Shemiramoth. Shem, namer. The language, the word, the letter, the number killeth. The spirit is what directs the words to make sense. So this book that this guy wrote, Bible Code 2, which found a retrospective prediction of 9/11. I already told you 9/11. It's Isaiah. You shall see his descending fist. It says you shall see his descending fist in fiery smoke and rivers of sulfur. In the day of the great destruction, when the towers fall, you shall see the descending blow of his arm. His mouth and tongue are like a river of molten lead. It will consume. It will turn to dust. Herod's temple turned to dust. The Romans blamed the Jews for burning it down. The Jews blamed the Romans. Go look at history. There's no proof for it. They're so afraid they say it didn't even exist. No Roman can do that. But there were two opposing forces at the time, right? Isn't that confusing? It's only for eyes to see then, right? So now you got the Romans saying one story, blaming the one side. Oh, they destroyed their own temple. And you have these guys saying, oh, the Romans destroyed it. Somebody had to have. And then 300 years later, literally, some pagan emperor says, why can't they rebuild their temple? He gives them all the ability to do it. They start trying to break ground. Fire comes out of the ground and consumes them. I'm not even kidding. They said, there must be like a natural gas leak or something. So when they're like using the shovels, they couldn't they they couldn't make up an excuse. Just like Sodom and Gomorrah. They tell you it happened. They're just like, oh, it must have been a meteor. We can't deny it. And hey, maybe it was two birds with one stone. It took out Jericho too. They can't explain Jericho. I explained it. If you guys remember that video, maybe I can repost that video because I don't think there's anything wrong with that one. I just went over an article that talked about Sodom and Gomorrah, and they just ended up proving it more. But it's anybody who wants their confirmation bias will just be like, oh, it's just a meteor. Now I can just sin and Judgment Day's not coming. Whatever. They can believe what they want. They can believe they have big, strong hands. The rock biter. I'm the rock biter. I am the mountains. Well, guess what? Your friend slipped out of your hands because strength does absolutely nothing. And then you just sit there waiting for the nothing because you look at your hands. And you just keep telling yourself, these are big, strong hands, aren't they? You're just a rock. A rock can't be molded. It can only be broken. If it tries to hold on to its friends too hard, it crushes them. Every time he moves through the realm, he destroys. Because he thinks that might is right. But who wins? The one who saw him there. The clay. And it's like, I'm not going to wait for the nothing. I'm going to keep going until I defeat the last enemy. The last enemy to be conquered is death. Mot. Shemiramoth. Speaking is the highest form of courage. I spoke to a soldier of the Venevidi Vici. Told him the entire plan with his handler listening in. Second time that's happened. I spoke to two women in Israel that were obviously being bred. They were Hathors, as I call them. Look up Hathor. Beautiful women. I'm trying to tell them the same thing. That their government, these people that they're ordering you to destroy, are more related to you than the government ordering you. And the handler, who keeps her face hidden, started screaming, I hate you. I hate you. Running to the phone and to skip. Yeah. You know who says that? Rumpelstiltskin. I hate you. The devil told you that. The only one who knows our plan is the devil. The devil told you that I hate you. This is what this woman was manifesting. It's like, yeah, I'm going to tell your Hathor women the truth. You can't breed women like cattle. Not you shall not. Not you shall not breed women like cattle. You do not. You do not breed women like cattle. And you don't just get rid of what you deem unfit. By tossing it off a cliff. You understand? Because your leaders will fall into the hand of the cliff. That's written in the Torah. Ta-ra. The mark that breaks in pieces, it shatters. Like an earthenware vessel. Because that's what your body is, an earthenware vessel. If there's no strong enough spirit in there, it doesn't matter how many push-ups you did, you're going to burst like an earthenware vessel. The only way To cleanse an earthenware vessel is to burn it and smash it into pieces. Spirit gets renewed by spirit. Data, wisdom. So this man, they claim the Eliyahu guy doesn't deserve his name, in my opinion, but he serves a purpose. So who am I to say? He was also a man of impeachable integrity, born in Ridja on December 12, 1948, to Big H Costco survivors. He had been 19-year-old mathematics student at the time. Oh, that's why they spared him. Because they were doing eugenics. I know what Hitler did. I'm going to do an episode. I'm going to call it Mein Pharaoh. I'm going to read through Mein Kampf again. And I'm going to tell you exactly who Hitler was. Alex Jones actually said it on that third interview with Joe Rogan. So I might listen to that part again. Take notes on what Alex Jones said, because I know that stuff too. But I want to hear again how he says it, and I'm gonna do that. It's gonna be called Mind Pharaoh, and I bet you the number of the episode's gonna align somehow. I don't even care though. It's probably gonna be episode 18. Mm-hmm. You understand? It's supposedly the Kabbalistic number for life, but it's 6 + 6 + 6. That's interesting, isn't it? Okay. When the Soviet tanks rolled in, Rips felt very alive, he said he recalled, and he decided to burn himself to death in protest. All right, this is all about his former identity as a Soviet spy using the Shoah. I already went over these words. It's all about killing off or burning the persona, maritime amnesty law, and getting a new one in a new state. You understand? With a new ID. With a different name that sounds more Hebrew than than the one you used to have. Isn't that right, Benzion Mikhailovich? All right. So he didn't do any of this stuff. He just let me see, passing sailor. Okay, look at this. Rips doused himself in gasoline and unfurled a banner saying, "I protest against the occupation of Czechoslovakia." But some passing sailors extinguished the fire. It had to have been hard. It was gasoline. Leaving Rips badly burnt but alive. He was consigned to a Soviet psychiatric prison for 2 years. 33rd minute mark. 33rd second. Right now. Not even kidding. To pass the time on a piece of a lavatory paper supplied by a guard, he refuted a widely accepted proof of a mathematical problem called the dimension subgroup conjecture. This feat stunned Western mathematicians who petitioned the Soviet Union for his release. You can't make this stuff up. He does these like skip code things. It's just this AI trick. I've been showing you the patterns in scripture. It's the words, not numbers. Numbers are death. It's literally Mott. Rips them put... Why do you think they call these scientific things laws? That's what Torah is. Rips then put to test the Torah's seeming power to predict the future. I showed you that through the words. And he claims he said the date that Saddam's first Scud missile would be on January 18th. You have the 6 + 6 + 6. You can't make this up. So this guy just passed away July 19th, 2024. Let me look. July 19th, 2024. Where are my streams at? July 19th. Let me scroll here. Yeah, I'm gonna find something really weird. Let's see. Come on. July 19th. We're getting there. July 25th. Um, I'll just scroll to July 19th. Let's see what it is. Wow. You can't make this up. Wow. I'm going to put the Telegram link in the chat. You are to go to General Etymology and scroll up to July 19th. I went live with the Metroid Prime introduction, Matroid Peram. The death of the invoking of the Eye of Death, basically. To the mouth that is exalted. Shamash Haran on Ta Lamed. Lamed on 4. It's just wild. The Metroid Prime, Matroid Peram. You can go look it up for yourself. I'm gonna put let me put the thing in the chat. That is wild. This man passed away when I was speaking about Mat, and Mat being death. So the Telegram link is in the chat for those who watch later, in case they don't believe me. They can go in the files too and see it. My past lives. Go to the introduction. It'll say July 19th. The timing might even be creepy. This guy's just a Kabbalistic plant. That's so wild. I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more. I might go through these stories first. You know what? Let me actually go through a song. One of these songs. Fletcher Memorial Home. I've quoted that a lot. This certain lyric from that. It says, "Take all your overgrown infants away somewhere and build them a home. America. Amorica. Sodom. Gomorrah. Build them a home, little place of their own." Fletcher Memorial, home for incurable tyrants and kings. This is Jurassic Park. They could appear to themselves every day on closed-circuit TV to make sure they're still real. It's the only connection they feel. Do you understand? That's what these reporters are. And then his voice says, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Reagan and Haig, Mr. Bacon and friend, Mrs. Thatcher and Paisley, Mr. Brezhnev and party. We're going to see this. The ghost of McCarthy and the memories of Nixon. And now, adding color, a group of anonymous Latin American meat-packing literati. Did they expect us to treat them with any respect? No. This is literally Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, group of anonymous Latin American meatpacking literati. Literally, Marco Rubio used to be a male model. Go look it up. Did they expect us to treat them with any respect? They can polish their medals. They're doing it right now. The Olympics. Sharpen their spines. The Iron Lady. Le Pen. She thinks she's the Tower of Eiffel. Do you understand? These women will shed blood. They will say, "I came, I saw he died," and laugh like Kaiser and Bloody Mary and Elizabethan psychopath who is drunk. They drink it down to the dregs. They can polish their medals and sharpen their smiles. I always thought it was spines. Sharpen their smiles and amuse themselves playing games for a while. Boom, boom, bang, bang, lie down, you're dead. Yeah, he's seen this before. He grew up in England when all this was happening. And then this is the most important one. All these people, all these politicians, all these news people, safe in the permanent gaze of a cold glass eye, their favorite toy. They'll be good girls and boys until you meet them in person. In the Fletcher Memorial Home for Colonial Wasters of Life and Limb. Is everyone in? And then you hear a man shout, Jikal, which is literally How Victory, How Victoria. He's hailing his ancestor. I'll tell you who the mother of Pharaoh is. You don't have to wait, though. You can find out. It's not special. I'm not special. You can go find it out before I even do it. And Excel passed me. That's the great thing. Are you having a nice time? Now the final solution can be applied. We have to get to a solution. That's what Trump said about shipping out all the steely knives. They like the feel of steel. So, you remember Carol Baker I showed? I have the solution. We'll just get rid of all the whites in the United States. $2006, 9, I forgot what it was. I think it was 2009. 10 years later, Trump's saying we have to get to a solution. Warp speed. Warp speed. I broke that down in, I think, the Trump dimensional syndrome. I did that the day before that what happened in Pennsylvania. And that's you have Shabaoth doesn't do anything until he reveals it to his servants, the prophets. Why? Because that's a function of love, so you're not in the dark. So somebody reads to you these songs and says, this stuff's serious, quit watching television. Is that a hint of accusation in your eyes? Yes, it is. Stop watching television. It's ruining your life. It's ruining everybody's life. Listening to these people's voices all the time is madness. So, I'll start the next one off with Maggie's Farm. But I'll go over Trump because he calls out Kamala Devi Harris, which is the investment of the words that give men inflaming sickness. You can Hebraize her name. I posted on Instagram, apocalypse_Noah. I posted on Instagram that her vice presidential pick, who looks like he's some kind of Nordic Hamite pharaoh, they're all Hamitic looking, but they're white. You understand? That's Pharaoh. That's Heth. Amalek's a little bit darker. That's why they have to be Hamas. You understand? 44-minute mark. Going into 45. Let's talk about Trump. Donald Trump faced heavy criticism on Wednesday, Wotan's Day, after questioning the heritage of presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Vice President Kamala Harris while speaking to the National Association of Black Journalists. Khmer journalists. Do you understand? The black-robed journalists, not their skin. She was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I don't know. She was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and is she known as a black? I don't know. Is she Indian or is she black? You know, he just does this so that people think it's funny and cute, like some kind of comedian. They want coffee. They want cable. They want comedy. Everything to keep their mind off being property. Taria. Harris's father is from Jamaica, and her mother's from India. Oh, I know what they're mixing. That sparked questions about backgrounds of both candidates. Look at that. And then they demonize people who look up their genealogies. Oh, the shooter looked up genealogy. It's like, okay, it's not going to scare me. Trump is one of 5 children. Remember the 5. I just posted about Belton. There's 5 Beltons in America. Belton Road Initiative. Go to the Instagram. A lot more stuff happens there. But the Telegram actually archives it all too. So it's getting very, very, very interesting. One of 5 children of the real estate developer Fred Trump. Remember what Fred is? It's literally Pharaoh's donkey, Pharaoh's democracy. Pera and then Ed is a wild ass. Tarampe, the mark of the exalted mouth, and rum is literally Rome. Mark of Rome's mouth. It had eyes and mouth like a man, spoke great things. It was magus. It spoke like Magog. And the Scottish, I told you what Scottish means. It's the right hunters of man. Not righteous. A right as in a formula. That's what Melchizedek was. It was a type of righteousness from order, but it wasn't quite the full thing of Messiah. That's why Sedek, it's not necessarily righteousness, but just right. That's why it's the Scottish Rite. That's why Hebraizing Scottish is literally Sedek-ish, the men of Sedek. They probably have priestly bloodlines connecting to Melchizedek, or they claim to, because the genealogy actually isn't in scripture, so they can claim it, but they have no proof. Isn't that interesting? But they do say only one is in the order of Melchizedek. Do you remember who it is? Because it ain't Trump. Fred Trump and Scottish immigrant Mary Ann MacLeod Trump. MacLeod. There can only be one. Look it up. Look it up, Highlander. The former president has 5 children. 7 son, I'm a 7th son. 7 7, I'm a 7th son. This guy's a 5 of 5. Scottish immigrant. Okay. Former president has 5 children with his 3 wives. He's doing this all Kabbalistically. He's marrying a genetic Catholic, a genetic Coptic, a genetic Eastern Orthodox. You probably just can't tell because all those things are so mixed now that you don't know what it looks like when they've actually bred them. They breed women, they breed people. It's happened. They write about it. They write Animal Farm because these people have lived it. I have family that escaped from Animal Farm. Nobody's going to gaslight me on my experience. They will be brought down by no human hand. Okay, with his 3 wives as well as 10 grandchildren, 10 hordes of the beast. Oh, they all have one will, and they're all part of an 8th, a body that belongs to the 7, genetically related to the 7, but it's going to destruction. Getting interesting. It's getting hot in here. Don't take your clothes out, though. Don't let your nakedness be seen. Doesn't matter how hot it gets. Sweat. Sweat. Take it. It's the breath of God. It either establishes or devours. Are you afraid? Frederick Trump. Donald Trump's paternal grandfather was born in 1869 in Karlstadt. That is the Cop of All, and basically the state of the Cop of All. Donald's name means the Cop of the Earth, basically. The Don, the old Dan. In what was then the Kingdom of Bavaria, where the Bavarian Illuminati came out of. You cannot make it up. It's where the Republican Party came from. Grand Old Party. Old Glory. The flag is the Old Glory of Pharaoh. Red, white, and blue. That's what he wore on his head. and on his shoulders. Look it up. Time is short. He immigrated to the U.S. in 1885 before moving to the Yukon in Canada, the border Canaan, and operated as a restaurant and brothel for white horse miners, according to CBC News. Restaurant and brothel. That's literally Jezebel. She gets them to eat food, sacrifice to idols, and gets them to commit sexual immorality. You're about to see it. He returned to Karlstadt, where he married Elizabeth Christ. Elizabeth is Oath of the Seven. Power of the Seven. The power of the oath. He came for the seven. He's an eighth, going to destruction. He took the Christ out of a woman's name, the inheritance out of a woman's name, and birthed the Antichrist church. Tarumpe. As he had allegedly left Bavaria to avoid conscription. Oh, they all like to flee their heel spurs. He had been stripped of his citizenship, and he subsequently went back to the U.S. Yeah, look it up. A lot of European and royals from all over the world got banished over here. Look it up. This is one of them. They think they own something still. They're the scant measure that is a curse. They think they own something, so they buy property. Do you understand? While you're just watching TV, they're buying your children. Frederick Trump moved his family to Queens, where he bought a number of properties before he died at the age of 49. 4913. In 1918. Perfect year during the Spanish influenza epidemic. Gee, I wonder what that was. It's the crown coming down. Feeling the power of the crown. Following her husband's death, the 37-year-old took on the management of his properties. Yeah, see, the woman has to become the man now because he was nothing. He was a usurper. He was a doppelganger. Now she has to carry the weight after she flees from her human form. Co-founding the real estate development company E. Trump and Son with Fred Trump, a former president's father. A false prophet named Kimberly, actually. He hated his name because it was a girl name. Kimberly Clementi. Look up Kim Clement. He always said to invest in something that was the big E, but he couldn't say it for legal purposes. But he was prophesying it. Oh, a real estate company, E. Trump and Son. I wonder how much money they make. See, he died in 1966 at the age of 85. 13. Okay, numbers don't mean anything. When it has to do with death, a lot of times the numbers line up. Isn't that interesting? The numbers are death. What? Parents. Frederick Trump Sr. While Donald Trump has claimed that his father was born in Germany, which literally means the germinators, the seed. You can't stop them. They keep growing. You have to make someone go in there from America, funded by Prescott Bush and Rockefeller, to get rid of them all. Here's another one. Can't get rid of them all. I may not have blue eyes. I may not have blonde hair. But I have the light that you try to extinguish. It splinters the darkness. It splinters your foot. It splinters your spine. It splinters your eyes. It splits. It is living and active, sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing between the division of soul and spirit, bone and marrow. It splits your marrow. I had a friend. They split his marrow. Oh boy, do they have something coming. They want to take my friends that I have to see with my eyes and drain their spinal fluid and steal their marrow and sell it to the Chinese, and they think they're going to get away with it. I do nothing. I sit and see the salvation of Yehovah. That's it. That's what the real set is. Do you understand? Like they split a true person into two. You're supposed to be the Horus with wisdom, but you're also supposed to be the Set that waits. They split them into two, and they call them red and blue, and they screw you. Look at that. What is a screw? A screw is the red and blue. It's the notches sticking out. It's the notches sticking in, going around in a spiral. Tethla. Do you understand? Can you see it? Can you feel it coming? It's the Empire. Can you see it? Can you hear it calling? Can anyone here stop it? Listen to Empire by Queensryche. Oh, sorry. It's just starting to hit me like a 2-ton heavy thing. 2,000 years, yeah. Listen to that song. Okay. While Donald Trump has claimed his father was born in Germany, he was in fact born in New York City because he's in exile. Scant measure, he's in exile. Two German immigrants, Frederick and Elizabeth, in 1905, Trump Sr. started his own construction company as a 15-year-old in high school, partnering with his mother. You understand? This is all the false church. Now look at, I'll show you his father. Look at his father. Look at this. His father is a Egyptian, British royal. You understand? Do you see what I see? Do you see what I see? Let me take you on a trip around the world and back. A pharaoh gives birth to a Dutch boy. Yeah, Donald Easy, old Dan. Dun, 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 dun. Look at, what are you doing with your hands? Got them in your pockets. Yeah, your hands, your dad's hands are out. You got them in your pockets, just waiting for your opportunity. And he waiteth for an opportune time. He slithereth away and wait for an opportune time to come out of one of his own disciples and say, "You are being morbid, master. This shall not happen to you. Get back, get back, get back beneath, behind, Shaitan." You understand? Get back, Jojo. They're trying. They're saying Jojo, get back. You understand? Who is Yo-Yo? Hohoba. Hohova. You understand? Why they start singing that song? I can't help it. This atheist and this French guy. It's the Pink Panther. Ooba. Ooba. You understand? It's like, why does it make me dance? Because it's haya. Saraya. It's life, it's movement. It's the anointing of the inner material of two things being one. Can't make this up. Go to the Instagram. It's so, I can't stop. It has to. I don't feel good unless I'm procreating with this information. That's what it is. It's it creates life and thought and thinking. Like when I spoke to this IDF soldier, he was thinking, and I'm like, yeah, because you have the Semite mind, so it's easier to be logical, but then you can be trapped in there. You are the AI. I am the AI. Do you understand that these people hover around you, take your information, and they build their stuff, and they build AI off of your mind? Elizabeth Keene, the whole cabal, the fulcrum that exposes the whole cabal is on your mind, Elizabeth Keene. So I'm just this Trump here to distract you so that it doesn't come out of your mind and nobody extracts it. The blacklist, the Kemar list, the black robe priests, Pharisees, Para, Shah. Okay. Come with the multitude of your idols, you will be spoken to in the midst of your idols by the one. those who take their idol into their heart and put the stumbling block of their faith before their face so I can see it in their eyes that they're a coward. They will be answered in the multitude of their idols. Marianne McLeod Trump. Let me do this real quick. Born in 1912, the Outer Hebrides, west of the Scottish mainland. Literally, Edgar Allan Poe mentions those islands in the poem that says they have dragged Diana from her carriage. Perasa. Paparazzi are the shredder of Pharaoh. I'm not kidding. The paparazzi murdered. They dragged her from her carriage. After meeting Fred Trump Sr. at a party for the world to see, they married in 1936 and settled in Jamaica, Queens. She was trying to escape. It was very obvious to the world. But anyway, then they had to make new rules for the paparazzi, huh? Paparazzi. You understand? Papa Rat. It's the Papa Rat. Rat. Oh, look at these beauties. Look at this dynamic here. Look at this pharaoh. Look at this pharaoh. Looking over the shoulder of this woman. Look at that evil stare. And look what he's trying to affect. That woman looks like my grandmother on my father's side. Can't make this up. She died of Huntington's disease. She was slowly succumbed to a very heavy spirit from a very disgusting pharaoh that didn't treat her like Esther. These people, they farm people, you understand? They have no birth certificates. They have other families in other countries. I am not a fool. I'm gonna have, it's past the hour mark. I'm gonna have to continue this Trump family thing. But in the meantime, let me show you the rest of Trump's family. You want to see the rest of Trump's family right now? It's not right. You know what I'm going to play right now. You want to see Trump's family? I'll show you Trump's family right now. Here we go. Where is it? You know what's coming. I know you know what's coming. You actually didn't know that was coming. This is what I'm talking about, though. Right here.
It has begun.
You want to see Trump's family? His extended family?
Fight.